Yes, there it is. Woohoo! Welcome into the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast for Tuesday. And today is March 4th already. Tuesday, correct, John.
Thank you.
I'm Ron. That dude over there is John Yaglenski. Just John, actually.
Just John. I'm just John.
He's been a busy bee. Running around doing 5,000 different things, but and he's very graciously and magnanimously devoted his time to help us with this and put this podcast on. So thank you, John, for doing that. I appreciate that. And welcome and thanks for listening and watching on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook channel. And as always, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And thank you so much. And if you are watching us live, then please, feel free to interact with us in the comment section. I'm going to be throwing a bunch of questions at you because I want your opinions on things. And also, you can always send us a message, 240-415-9090, 240-415-9090, if you'd like. We've had a few messages here and there.
Yes.
I'm doing something a little different. If you haven't noticed, I'm not wearing my headphones today because I was just like, I was having such a great hair day.
Weird.
No, actually, the reason why is because it's after a while, it's like a vice. It's this gentle pressure. When you're on the air and here we go, a little inside baseball thing. When you're on the radio show, you put them on, unless you're doing a talk show, you put your headphones on and for a minute, 2 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Tops. And then you take them off and everything's fine. But, when you're sitting there for an hour with this vice, it's a gentle vice, then there's a nice little headache. And so I'm trying something different. I hope. Tell us if it sounds okay. Because if it doesn't, then, I'll go back to wearing the headphones. But And I know a lot of people, in fact, our morning show person, Dina Carroll, she wears the little, the earbuds now. And she has one out. She has the earbuds in and one is hanging out. And I'm like, how do you hear? She just wants to hear the end of the song. She doesn't need to listen to herself. But I always have the headphones on.
That's just wrong.
It's correct because I like listening to the
I love hearing myself. Rick Dees.
I sound amazing.
Yes, I can get the mic right up in my mouth and it sounds marvelous. It's fantastic.
You are great.
You look great this morning.
Hey, laissez le bon temps rouler. Aye, happy Mardi Gras. Yay. Today being Fat Tuesday. There's Odney. Odney sent us a comment saying good morning.
Yeah.
Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, Shrove Tuesday. And it took me years to realize, and I took 4 years of French, 2 in college. In fact, my teacher told me I should probably go and live in France, and then I'd be speaking like a native. It took me years, though, to realize that Mardi Gras was Tuesday fat because the adjective always comes after the noun en français.
Right.
Mardi is Tuesday. Gras is big or large or fat. So I didn't get that until years later. People are saying Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras. And I'm like,
it's fat
interesting. Oh. Why is it called Mardi Gras?
I just learned that now. I was this years old when I learned that.
There you go. Well, I mean, I was trying to remember. I was trying to remember the you're this years old. The days of the week. Like I said, I took French and I've forgotten so much of it.
I don't know. How does it go?
It was lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi is Saturday, I think. I got that right. Anyway, so
got me.
It took me. Then I realized Mardi is French for Tuesday. Okay. I got it. Shrove Tuesday. So this is the day where you let it all hang out. There she is, Jennifer Skull. No.
Hello, Jennifer.
Our lone California listener. Wishing us a good morning because it's 8:07 on the on the
8:07 on the West Coast. Big bong.
It's funny. No, because John and I are radio guys. John and I are radio. That's how you know us. Yeah. But when we make fun of radio guys, we wow,
Right.
we do that with our voice. And I
Right.
remember that with Jimmy Fallon did it. He was a radio DJ character on SNL.
Uh-huh.
And he'd be like, we're black and we're black. I still do that. I did that on the air. Anyway, neither here nor there. Mardi Gras, I feel like I've missed out because my brother-in-law, my wife's oldest brother, Billy, lived in New Orleans for like, I don't know, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
He left during Katrina. He had to evacuate during Katrina, and then he had nothing to go back to. He lost everything. But in the years that he was there, never visited him. Not one. And he was in the French Quarter. Not once did we visit him. And I'm like, oh, that was right, is what I'm saying.
Really? I mean,
I've never been to Mardi Gras. I've never been to New Orleans. I've always wanted to go.
Never been?
Huh?
Never been?
Never been, yeah.
Wow.
I have wanted to.
Better do that soon. We're on the back nine.
We are on the back. You're correct. I do have to do that soon.
Yeah. Don't wait.
Time's running out.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed.
I always wanted to take the train. And I wanted to take a train, an Amtrak train.
You wanted to ride the city of New Orleans?
There's a southern. Well, you could go up to Chicago and come down, or you could go across.
Riding on the city
I think it comes down to
New Orleans.
I think it comes to South Carolina and then across. I got it.
Right. No, well, you can actually yeah, I don't know where it goes from there, but obviously we just rode from Savannah all the way up to New York. Right. And that same train goes to Miami. Literally runs from Miami to New York.
Well, I was reading that, so somebody did take a train like that to New Orleans, and I was reading their review. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm cleaning look at my fancy glass cleaners that the greatest wife ever gave me for Christmas. How great are they?
Oh,
they're wonderful.
Fantastic.
Anyway, you'd think I'd do this before I got on the air.
So you do this in your daytime job?
Yeah, I do.
Do you? Okay.
So
people don't see you doing it. Go ahead.
I was reading the review. That's right. They don't.
Yeah.
And apparently they got held up because the trains, and this happened when I was taking a commuter train from here down to Washington, D.C.
Freight trains.
It's ruled by the freight. Freight rules the rails.
They do.
Freight always goes first. Passenger trains are secondary.
Yeah.
And you have to wait for that freight to go through. And I think in this area, the CSX tracks are owned by CSX, Chesapeake, whatever it is. So when I was on the MARC train, or when you were on, Amtrak, you got to wait for those
pull over
freight trains. So the review was that, they had to wait like an entire day. An entire day. There was a broken down train, and they had to get an engine in there and move the trains on.
Yeah. I've heard of that happening. Like we ended up, I think, an hour late almost into Savannah, out of New York. Now going the other way, we were on time pretty much. I mean, normally I think they build in some buffering into the schedule and stops. And then there's, this is a weird one. If we're talking about trains, when you go from Savannah, you were powered by a diesel train. And then at Washington, D.C., they switch the engines to electric.
Yes.
But
I knew that. So,
but you have a time where you're able to get off the train. I went and got a McDonald's.
Okay, good.
At that point, I did.
Okay, good. So I've never been to New Orleans. If you've been to New Orleans, you've been to Mardi Gras, or have you been to? Actually, you've just been to New Orleans.
I've been to New Orleans, but not to Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I'd want to go. I had an office mate who had worked in New Orleans. Actually, two, and he said he just loved working there in New Orleans, and then he would every day he would have dinner, and then he would walk like 2 miles after dinner. And I'm like, why? He says, cream sauces. I love the cream sauces.
Think Emeril Lagasse. Yeah. That's That is.
Gotta work that off. You gotta work it into your day so you
Yeah.
can have the cream
Paul
sauce.
Prudhomme, I believe, was
Paul
another
Prudhomme.
one. Yeah,
I
good stuff.
love Cajun food. I want to go there just to eat on an eating vacation. And
Oh God,
yeah, come on. We'd have to do it. I'd have to lose a lot of weight.
I gotta find a way to do that sort of thing and not be like 300 pounds. Like there has to be a better way, like to sample and it like. But when it's so good, it's so good. You just want to eat.
I know.
These
I
are
was
the,
going through
the challenges of life.
I was not to be gross, but 24 hours ago, I was coming off of a binge of nothing wanted to stay in my body. I'll just say
that's a better
I'll just
way to
say
put it.
that.
Yeah, let's not. Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Dropped 3 pounds, and I'm like, well, that's one way of doing it. I thought, well, I don't want to do that. It was
okay.
But I'm just like looking at all the foods that I eat and have eaten, and I'm realizing, oh man, I did a story yesterday on the air about emulsifiers and foods.
Yeah,
they're not good for you, man. They're not good.
A lot of what we eat is not.
A lot of the ultra processed food.
Let's just be honest.
Not good. And
I heard a comedian say recently, I like my food as processed as possible. I think that was Nate Bargatze.
I like him. Yeah,
he's funny. You know what? Not to go off on a tangent, but you know what I love about him? That he doesn't work blue at all.
Nope.
And he's
not
funny.
even a little bit.
Not even. It's all about the timing. Oh, he's so funny. I would love if there were more comedians like that.
There are a whole bunch.
I don't need the F-bomb every 3 seconds for things to be funny.
I get that. I mean, I could take it either way.
No, I mean occasionally, but it's nice to just sit there and know you could bring your kids or your grandparents or your parents or whatever.
Yeah.
To a concert.
Yeah. Tom Papa's another one who's like that, who's not.
Really? Does he not? Because I've never seen him do it.
I don't think so. And Brian Regan is very famous for not working blue at all.
Really?
And
I love him too.
No, not a cuss word.
All guys I love too.
Which was ironic because he was
in Loudermilk.
He was in Loudermilk and he was completely blue in that.
Right.
I was surprised to hear him curse, and I'm like, Brian Regan, you're not supposed to say those words. You never say those words.
Oh, it's so true. So true.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, Brian Regan is probably one of the most successful clean.
I did not know that.
Comics out there.
Thank you.
And Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld doesn't work blue.
Who are these people? Right. Exactly. Why?
What's with the? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I remember watching him. I spotted him on. There was a late night comedy show called Evening at the Improv, and they had the brick wall in the background. And I remember watching him. Gosh, it was probably right before Seinfeld went on the air, and I'm just crying, doubled over laughing. I was talking about how dogs don't have any money because they don't have any pockets. And so they can't pick it up, don't have opposable thumbs. And he's going through this whole thing. And then about a year later, Seinfeld Chronicles, which was the original title, by the way, that's a QOD sometime, popped up. And I remember watching it going, oh, this is going to be great. And I realized what the premise of the show was, as he's playing a version of himself and how he gets some of his material from his everyday life. And I thought that was really interesting and ingenious, but I spotted him years ago. I'm really good at spotting future big stars. Okay. I've seen him. Yeah, I've picked Tom Hanks when he was on Bosom Buddies. He was going to be huge. I thought he was going to be huge.
Yeah, I think I did that too.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Ryan Reynolds.
Peter Scolari is going to go nowhere.
What's that?
And Peter Scolari is going to go nowhere.
He later went on.
Sorry, Peter.
He was on Newhart. He was on Newhart for years.
Yeah, no, he was. No, but he's not the star that Tom Hanks was.
Well, not anymore. I mean, he passed away, but he
Well, I didn't mean that.
I know. But but Tom Hanks did give him a part in the movie that he directed when he did That Thing You Do. Peter Scolari was in it.
Yeah.
He was Troy Donahue, the variety show host.
You love that movie.
Huh?
You love that movie.
I can quote it chapter and verse.
I know.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why. But I have to give credit to my nephew, Zach.
Okay.
Who just turned 30, actually. And 30? No. 40? 40. Just turned 40. 40.
40?
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah, that makes sense. And he anyway, he was here visiting my brother and his 3 sons, and they were here visiting, and he had a little cassette from That Thing You Do, which had the soundtrack on it.
Right.
And he played it for our daughter. Zach and Jordan are very close, daughter the elder, in age. And she fell in love with it. And for some reason, somehow we fell in love with it and watched the movie over and over and over and over again. And know all the music and know all the lines from the movie. It's just one of those things. And we quote it to each other all the time.
Right.
And all day at the dentist. And
that
was another line. It was a line.
I remember liking the movie.
I think it was like Charlize Theron's first film. She played the Not Like I Haven't heard your song guy.
Really? And, did The Legend of Bagger Vance come before that?
No, I don't think so.
All right, we need to look up.
I'd have to look at. Yeah, you need to IMDb that. But you don't need to. I can do it. But
well, you're running the delicate flow. I
am. But when for some reason that movie came out, and then we bought the video and we watched it all the time, and we know it. I don't know why it just struck a chord with us. That Thing You Do, the first film of 2 directed by Tom Hanks, and he wrote it or co-wrote it, and he even wrote some of the music in it too, which was pretty amazing. And then this really came to the forefront, and actually this brings me around to today's date, is it brought to the forefront the songwriter of the song That Thing You Do. He was in a band called Fountains of Wayne.
Fountains of Wayne.
Fountains of Wayne.
I remember that.
Great band. And now, for the life of me, I can't remember the guy's name. This is terrible. Hang on. I got to look up Fountains of Wayne.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Fountains of Wayne. Who was this singer? He was
The Thing You Do, 1996. She was first in Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
I'm just letting you know.
I walk around in corrective shoes.
I'm going to give you pride, no prize.
Okay.
For being very close, because you were only 1 movie off. It was like her second movie, and let's see, Bagger Vance was in 2000.
Okay, there you go.
Which came 4 years later. So that's where I first remembered her from.
Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne, bass player, but he was also a songwriter, wrote a bunch of songs, and he wrote That Thing You Do. And he passed away during the pandemic. He got COVID, and he was one of those guys that it attacked him, and it was just shocking. And so they actually did a commemorative group watch with all the stars of the movie online, and you could watch the movie with them. And it was pretty amazing, and it was for Adam's family, which was it was pretty cool for them to do that.
It's a cute movie if you haven't seen it.
But the reason I bring that up is because I just saw, and I got to give credit where credit is due, Paul Brian Cubby, who is on in New York somewhere, some radio station.
As in Disney Cubby Bryant?
Well, he looked like Cubby, not the real Cubby. He just kind of looked like Cubby. That's his air name.
Oh.
But he I
thought that was
posted today.
Yes.
5 years ago. This was the last normal week we were to experience.
Well, no kidding. Okay. I don't need to be reminded of this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, right. The Dayton
Okay.
Flyers. Yeah.
Literally, we were a 1 seed going into the tournament. It was
Yeah.
the last week, and then all the conference tournaments were happening in NCAA basketball ahead of the NCAA tournament. And we were watching, and we had kept hearing about this stuff. I was at press events, by the way, in February, and we were hearing about it. And then in March, it was like suddenly some NBA player got sick and was like flaunting the fact that he could, he was ill. And then it became a thing. And then all of a sudden, conference tournaments came, and literally in the middle of a game at the Atlantic 10 tournament in, I think it was in New York, they shut it down.
Yeah.
Literally halftime, they stopped the game.
Right.
And I kept thinking, there's no way the world's going to shut down. This is like the biggest, there's no way they're not going to play the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
There's so much money. They'll find a way to do it. There's no way you can go back and look at my social media. I was, Dayton was, by the way, at that time, a 1 seed in the tournament, one of the top 4 teams in the country, ranked 3rd in the nation at the time. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
thanks for bringing that up, Ron.
Yeah. Well, but my point being,
anger.
That was
Johnny Anger came out
5 years ago,
and hopefully never see it again. Go ahead.
And we were at a friends of ours band was playing in DC at an Irish pub. That, let's see, St. Patrick's Day was Monday, so this was no, St. Patrick's Day was Tuesday. So this was 17, 16, 15, 14. This was March 14th in Washington, D.C. And we went there to the show, and greatest wife ever said she stepped outside to cigarette and have a cigarette. She's quit, by the way. But she stepped outside, she looked up one street and down the other on a Saturday night in Washington,
Nobody was there, right?
And it was completely empty. And she went, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah. And then that Monday, I went into work. I was working at Sirius XM on the Pulse, doing the Ron Ross radio show.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my thing. And with my then new producer, Shaggy.
Right.
And then I got a call in the middle of the show. I got a call from my boss. He was in New York.
Yeah.
Was he in New York? He was in Florida. He was in New York. He's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm doing my show. He goes, no, what are you doing there? I'm like, I'm doing my show in the office. He goes, they're shutting it down. This whole thing is shut down. They're shutting the New York offices, the DC, all of our offices are closing. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I had 3 people come in and wipe down the handle on the studio. The handle to the door, like 3 times with disinfectants.
Right.
We're like, and I had a mask. I was wearing a mask, a face mask when I came into work on the train. I was riding the train. I had to shut the train down. And that was it. And then I had to run home quickly. I called Greatest Wife Ever, and I'm like, I have to build a studio at home. I got to start doing my show from home.
Yeah. Right.
And I literally, but anyway, that was 5 years ago. This week was the last.
Yeah. Like I said, very aware of that because I'm headed up to, and I saw this is on the run of show, by the way, about March Madness, because I'm headed in literally on the 15th, headed out to Dayton, Ohio to do for my real work, something called the Big Hoopla, which is a huge celebration right before the NCAA First Four that happens at my school every single year at the University of Dayton Arena. In case you didn't know, the tournament starts in Dayton, Ohio every year. And the last 4 teams in are the ones who play in Dayton, Ohio to advance from the field of 68 into the field of 64. But I'm headed out there. So yeah, I remember too that year that, we were supposed to go out there and this was a huge thing. And we had invested like a ton of money because I think we had the top tier sponsorship or something back then. And Nobody knew what was going on. And literally at the last second, it was like, yeah, well, the tournament's canceled. We've got to cancel the event. And again, I just didn't think it was conceivable that anything like that could ever happen. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, hopefully it will never happen again.
Well, I put that on there, the March
scary
Madness,
time.
because
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. Because I know you're big into college basketball, but you're only big into Dayton.
Now I watch hoops.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm literally going out there and I will watch 4 basketball games. I'll watch all 4 of the first 4. I love going to college basketball games.
I like college basketball. I like March Madness. And I told the greatest wife ever, I'm like, oh, it's March Madness. And she's like, oh, great. I said,
Single greatest
something you didn't really know about
planet.
me is that I really do like watching college basketball and March Madness.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, it's a good thing we got 2 TVs. Like, yes, it is. It's a very good thing. We have 2 TVs.
Yeah.
And because she's not into it, but I'm not vehemently. There's no sport that I'm like, I have to. I mean, if I'm around and I'm home, I mean, like the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, and I talk about the Ravens all the time. They don't rule my life. I don't stay at home and not do something because I have to watch the Ravens game. Okay. If I'm out with the greatest wife ever and we're antiquing or something, I'll flip on the app on my phone to see what the score is. But that's it. I'm not going to stay home and watch a game. It's not going to rule my life. Same thing with the Orioles. I mean, if the Orioles are on, I'll watch the Orioles. I'm not spending a lot of money to go see the Orioles play. I'll go to the Frederick Keys.
Okay.
Which is a
the minor league team. Yep.
And they were in the Orioles organization. I don't know whose organization they're in now, but anyway, it's right there. It's a baseball game, and it's in my hometown, and I get a burger or I get a dog and a beer.
It's all good. It's a good experience.
Good. Baseball, man.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love baseball. That was my sport. That's the one I played. The one I excelled at was baseball.
I was best at baseball, but I ended up making the high school or junior high basketball team instead. So, and not making the baseball team. So I can't explain any of that. But March Madness, as far as the NCAA tournament goes, the first weekend is absolutely the best weekend of sports on the planet. I will go to my grave. I will plant the flag right there. When they go from 64 to 32 and 32 to Sweet 16, I mean, the games you see and the matchups and the Cinderella stories, there's always one or two every year that the finishes, you've always got last second finish. It's just fantastic.
I do like those. I like watching those. And I especially love, I love the Bracket Busters. Yeah, I love when some, Joe Blows College knocks off Villanova, or you know what I mean, or somebody comes in, takes the 3rd seed out in the second round, and you're like, oh man, whoever bet on them,
it's fantastic.
Made a lot. I love Bracket Busters like
that's what you have usually in the early. Once you get later in the tournament, usually the higher seeds prevail, and you have the teams that you see every year and things like that. But there's, like I said, there's always one or two. This is why it stunk so bad to be a 1 seed, because your path to getting to the Final Four is much easier as a 1 than it would be anywhere else because of the lineups and the way.
I guess
things happen. 1 versus 16, and then you play, and then. So
makes sense. But I mean, I want to ask
welcome to Sports Radio.
Throw it in the comments section. Are you? Yeah, we're done with Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Is there a sport that you are vehement about, that you have to watch? Vehement, by the way, was one of these vocabulary words. Greatest way I've ever had a list of 100 words that we should know. And vehement was in there, and I'm like, oh, I use that occasionally.
Yeah, that's a.
Is there a? And there were a couple of words I'm like, oh, I didn't know what that meant. Oh, is that what that means? Okay. And but is there a sport that you absolutely have to? You are a rabid fan about? I mean, look, I've got a Ravens jersey. I've got Orioles gear, but I'm not. Oh, I have to. And I went to Maryland. Your wife went to Maryland. I did not go. I went to all the football games because Boomer Esiason was actually the quarterback at Maryland at the time.
Right.
So the 80s and 82, 3, 4. But I never ever went to a Maryland basketball game. Never went to one. And I had a class in Cole Fieldhouse. There were actually classrooms in Cole Fieldhouse around the perimeter. You go around this hallway and then you take a right into you're like, wow, what do those doors go to? They go to a classroom. It actually was a classroom. I took fantasy literature, which I thought I was going to like, but I didn't. We read the Chronicles of Narnia. We read Gulliver's Travels and, whatever. I guess the Chronicles of Narnia were good, but whatever. I didn't realize that about Gulliver's Travels was a political satire, the whole thing. And I'm like, okay. I wanted fantasy literature, but anyway, that was a Cole Fieldhouse. Never saw a Maryland basketball game in person. When I could, I had student ID. I could just get in for free. But anyway, not big into the into this. I'll watch them. They're fun. I mean, both daughters were cheerleaders. So I went to all the games, all the football and basketball games, but I just watched the cheerleaders and watched my daughter and watched them go up in stunts and cheered them on. And there's a basketball game going on.
Well,
that's why I was there for the cheerleaders. I was there for our daughters to.
Do you do you watch any kind of sports with like your wife at all?
Okay, I'll tell you this.
I'm just curious, because I can pretty much we don't like other than like Super Bowl or if it's like a really big game or something.
If I throw a Ravens game on, she'll be in the room. She doesn't leave the room, but she'll probably be on her iPad or do something else. Occasionally, she'll poke her head up if it's a good game. But she's been soured on the NFL for a bunch of years anyway. So she's kind of she's done with that.
That happens.
So the Oscars were Sunday, and you had Conan O'Brien hosting.
Hold on, let me do this. I'm just gonna let you talk about it.
Well, here's my point.
Okay, go ahead.
I did not see a single movie that was nominated for Best Picture. There were
neither did I.
Them.
Neither did I.
10 movies. For 2024.
Yeah.
I never saw.
No.
And actually, a couple of them were on Netflix or on Amazon that I could have seen. That I just never watched.
Didn't know that either. But no.
Best Picture was Anora.
Have no idea what that is. I couldn't tell you what the plot, anyone who starred in it, nothing. Zero.
Well,
I've never even heard of it, quite frankly.
Here's my conundrum.
Okay. A conundrum?
My conundrum.
Okay.
And I don't I don't like sometimes I don't like being preached to.
Well,
by Hollywood. And I don't like being told that I'm stupid by Hollywood. But I do feel like I'm missing out. I mean, these are Anora was an independent film, a little indie film. They made it for like $5 million, which is nothing, $5 or $6 million.
Right.
And so, I mean, I've seen films that were critically acclaimed and won all these Oscars, and I've just kind of been like, what am I missing? I guess art is in the eye of the beholder, but I feel like, am I missing out? I mean, I will now watch Anora because I think it's on Netflix, right? So that's easy. I have Netflix. So I'll watch it just to see what all the hubbub is about.
What is it about? Do we know?
She's a stripper, pole dancer, and it's a Cinderella story. I told Greatest Wife Ever, I think I said it's kind of like Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman, is it?
It's pretty. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it, so I can't really say. I did hop onto Wikipedia to start to read some of the synopsis, and I went, no, I don't want to ruin it. I have to go back. I'll watch the film.
Okay,
but they're like The Brutalist, the one that he won the Best Actor Oscar for The Brutalist.
Don't look to me to answer this kind of
Don't
stuff.
know what it's about. You know, I have no idea. I did like Kieran Culkin. He won Best Supporting Actor for, and I do know that it was Jesse Eisenberg wrote it. I forget what the title of the movie is, but it was a road movie, a road trip. They go to Poland and they visit the concentration camps. But it's played, they're cousins and they're visiting family or, you know, touching with their roots or something like that. So Kieran Culkin, I like him because he was in Succession, the TV show, and I watched that. But other than that, the rest of it was just, it went way over my head.
Yeah.
Way over my head. And I just felt like I was completely out of touch with the, you know, with the Oscars. And they had a big long speech at the beginning about how, why do we do this? And I know you know,
right,
that we're self-congratulating each other and so on, but it's important because of the stories and art, you know, and I get that. And you do want the accolades and all that stuff. I never felt more out of touch. I felt more in touch with the Grammys than I did with.
Yeah. Yeah. What you're saying something. I don't know. Like, literally, I haven't seen any of the overnight ratings or anything like that. I'd be curious to see how it did and whether it kept its audience, even if you started watching it or, you know, did you finish it or did you come close to finishing it, that sort of thing. And, you know, or did it like this, going off a cliff that people just, you know, want to see the open. And then after that, I mean, I was mildly entertained by the fact that they had, which I thought was a neat way to present it. 5, like, was it 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people in best costume, 4 or 5. I don't remember how many it was. And then they showed, they showed the costume that they actually were in, right, and talked about the person that they worked with, which was a neat way of connecting it. You know, something that you normally don't know a whole lot about.
Yes, that was done well.
And talking personally about that. So I thought, okay, that was good. But other than that, and a few Conan jokes, which were funny. But it's like Conan hasn't been on network TV for how long now? And we dragging him back to do this. But
he's a big Sirius XM star now. Sirius XM paid him millions and millions of dollars for his podcast.
Hold on. Wait, where is it? Come on. It's not playing. I don't know what's going on with this. Something has happened with my.
John had something to play. He was going to play a little
sound.
What were you?
My sound effects. Something has happened that stuff is not playing anymore. It's just. There we go.
Technical difficulties.
It just this happened during my own podcast the other day. Like, just stuff wasn't playing. I don't know.
Wow, was it 11:41 already? Man, we've been rolling for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back and watch it. I mean, what did you think of the Oscars? I mean, put it in the comment section. Did you watch them? Do you care? Were there any movies you thought should have won that didn't win? I know there were some snubs. I read about that. Snubs, people who didn't get nominated. I mean, Demi Moore, I gotta watch that. I think that's available on Amazon Prime. Whatever, The Substance.
Again, I just don't know. I don't know any of these.
I know.
I'm like, I'm feeling really old.
I have been watching the new season of 1923, though. That's good.
I don't even know what that is. I don't know anything. Like, I have.
Oh, that's in the Yellowstone. That's in the Yellowstone world.
I'm just gonna hand off my podcast card because, like, I'm not keeping up on my current culture and all.
What are you watching then? What do you watch?
I mean, I watched sports, and I don't know. Like, we browsed the Netflix, like trying to find desperately a movie on date night and things like that. I mean, but I mean, other than that, occasionally I watch some Gordon Ramsay cooking or yelling at people. I like that.
Get out,
sort of stuff. It's roll.
Oh, I will say this, and because I'm huge, and greatest way I've ever can't stand this
home improvement shows.
Trying to eat right, but I love the Food Network. I have it on all the time, 24/7.
Okay. Well, so I mean, I get that.
But Guy Fieri has the new Tournament of Champions, and it just started on Sunday, and I'm recording all of them, and I've been watching them, and it's great. They have number 1 seeds and 16 seeds.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. They're
Well,
going
that's
head-to-head
cool. See,
competition.
like I could do that. Like that'd be fun.
Single elimination challenge, and then that's it. There, you win it, you move on.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're gone. I love it.
No, that's cool. Actually, I would
watch
watching
some of these chefs that are moving forward.
Yeah,
some that have come back, and and new chefs that are coming up.
It's
and
occurring
see
to
how
me
they
I'm not
are,
watching much.
Innovative
apparently.
with their. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't get so close to the camera.
Fine.
And so we're watching that. I'm watching that. But okay, I wanted to mention this because over the weekend, daughter of the Younger's band Swerves went on tour. She had a little tour. She went to Richmond, Virginia, and then she played in Washington, D.C. on Friday night, Baltimore on Saturday night, and then had a matinee in her hometown of Philly on Sunday. And we went to the show on Friday, rather, at a place called the Pie Shop in DC.
You mentioned that last week.
It's literally, that's exactly what it is. Downstairs, you buy pie.
Huh.
And they had sweet and savory pie. I did get the steak and onion and Gruyere cheese.
Oh, so you mean like pie as in what they consider overseas, like a meat pie and things like that. Like,
well, it's like sweet and savory. So you could get
I don't understand that, but okay.
Apple pie would be sweet.
Sweet, okay. And then savory is like meat,
like a meat pie?
Or a Guinness pie.
Yes. Well, they had a Guinness pie. But I did not get the Guinness pie, and it wasn't available. But we had pie. We went upstairs. Upstairs was the band where the venue was, and there was this long bar, and we sat there at the bar.
Okay.
Greatest wife ever. Now we got there first.
Mm-hmm.
And John, I don't know if you'd be proud of me or disgusted with me, but I drove down to Washington, D.C., and it was maybe a mile or two away from where I used to work at SiriusXM. So I knew where I was going. I just drove to SiriusXM, and which is in Eckington Place. It's New York and Florida Avenues, cross like that, and it's right up there. And I'm driving my old route through Silver Spring, and then I take a left onto Blair, and you're in DC, and the roads are crappy. And I immediately reverted back to a DC driver. I mean, I'm yelling at people, use your turn signal and move your vehicle. And Grace Wife is like, it's okay. We'll get there. And I'm like, but why isn't he turning? And then, it was bad. But anyway, got to this place to go upstairs to the venue, and you could take your pie up there. I had the pie, had some nice drinks, and then the place filled up, and the sound guy, they did a sound check with all the bands, and then so we were there early enough for that. And then and they went on and they did their set, and it was awesome. I'm sorry, I'm not going to brag, but I'm going to brag. It was great to be there in the audience and watch her. And these are songs that she's written, and performing with her band, which was very cool. But I highly recommend, if you're ever in Washington, D.C., go to the Pie Shop in D.C. and get a pie. Oh, they were so good. We had the Samoa pie too, which was like the Girl Scout cookie. So there was toasted coconut and caramel and chocolate. Oh man, that was something.
Pies are always good. I'm not going to turn down a pie.
Crust was amazing. Crust
savory.
Yep, good stuff. I love that. So I just wanted to mention that. So she's got a new song out called Velvet, which is available. You can get it on Spotify or purchase it if you want from Apple Music and wherever you get your downloads. So there's my little plug for Carolina's band.
No, it's Swerves. By the way, I saw a little bit of the video, I think, online, and so it's just very cool to see her up there playing and rocking and knowing that she's creating original music and things like that. So it must be a really proud papa moment.
Well, I'm also jealous because, man, she can really write a hook. I can't write anything to save my life. And she is like, and great lyrics, and I'm just saying, wow. I mean, it's fantastic. Now, also, I wanted to bring that up because I snapped a picture when she walked in of her arriving at the gig, and she's wearing this sweatshirt, and it says Z104 on it. Today's hit music, Z104, and it was the Washington D.C. Z104, where I was the assistant program director and music director for.
Was it did have the the electric pink color and the
yes, and the Z and had the triangle behind it? Yeah, right, exactly.
I remember I tried creating a logo for Z at one point.
There you go.
I gave you a screensaver. Remember?
I do remember. I do remember that
back in the day. Horrible Photoshop. I'm sure it's awful.
And I thought,
yeah,
I didn't realize you stole that from me. She
stole your.
Took it right out of my closet. Sweatshirt. She's wearing a Z104 sweatshirt. I never gave it to her. She was a little tiny thing when Z104 launched. Actually, she was born the year that we launched Z104 in Washington. So anyway, I posted the picture up on the Z. We have a group chat or a group Facebook page of people who worked at Z104, and it was it was funny to see people's reactions to it because they're all like showing, oh, I've got mine, I still have mine, I get all the reaction when I go out. And so I ran across this this podcast. There's in Washington, and I think you know this, John. There was a webpage called DCR-TV, and it was all about DC radio
television.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Well, the man who started that, Hughes, he passed away.
Yeah.
But somebody else has taken up the mantle, and they now have it. It's a Facebook group, and now it's its own webpage. And also he does podcasts. And he did a podcast with the former night guy at Z104, Matthew Blades, and the Matthew Blades radio program. And Matthew Blades, he was fantastic because I worked with him for a little while. When he came in, he replaced the previous. Anyway, he was there from like the early days. And it was really interesting to get his perspective on how the radio station was doing. Because when I was there, when we launched it, I was the acting program director, and then they brought in Dale O'Brien was the PD, and then I was his assistant program director and music director. And and then later Matthew was in, and Afternoon Drive went to Sean Sellers and who was it? Lisa Bergen did Billy Bush, Billy Bush did mornings. Right. It was just
saw him on a podcast like a week ago or something.
What's that?
I just saw Billy Bush on a podcast like a week ago. I think, what does he do? He must do podcasting from like Howie Mandel's studios or something like that.
Oh no, does he? I don't know.
Like Howie came in and it was somebody. It was weird. Yeah, but Z still exists.
Z, no.
Okay,
Z,
I was going to say
that was a lot about. That was what the podcast was about. Was the demise of Z104 and why it went away.
All right.
And because he was in the second incarnation of Z104 in DC when they had changed the format, and they were trying to go like kind of AAA, which is adult album alternative, by the way. If you're
I didn't know what that was.
What? AAA? Adult album alternative.
Baseball or something.
No, it was a radio format that was hot for a little while.
Alternative.
Adult album alternative.
That doesn't sound great.
No, it was wonderful. I loved it.
Oh, of course you did.
I love that kind of format.
Is that kind of like the Spectrum on Sirius XM?
Kind of like the Spectrum, exactly.
Okay, I pulled that. That was good. I made the connection there, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh, okay. And so
sorry,
it was interesting to get his perspective. And I did get a shout out from Matthew Blades, which was very nice.
The Blades.
He was great.
Okay.
He was a good guy.
Cool.
But it was just really weird because, a lot of the time I'm always reminiscing about Sirius XM because we're in the month now that, when that happened 2 years ago.
Two.
And
really? Is it 2 years ago?
But it was March 14th. But who's counting? And
you're better off for it.
Oh, I am now. Yeah,
you're doing incredibly well.
Somebody asked me what
your ratings are pretty good, Ron.
Somebody asked me how I was doing at Key 103. I mean, I love everything about the company where I am now, but
good.
But my point is, though, I very rarely look back on Z or Z. There was a Z104, original Z104 in Frederick, Maryland, which was the hit cranking, hot rocking
I worked there
with the WLS jingle package. Da-na-na, da-na, Z104.
104.
And
John Taylor.
And I mean, I got to work at that station, legendary station.
It was fun.
So it was just, I thought it was interesting because he's bringing up names and things from Z104 in DC, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Oh, I remember.
We were there.
I tried to take the train down. That was another commute from HE double hockey sticks, trying to drive down to Northern Virginia. Well, first it was in, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Berwyn Heights, not Berwyn Heights, Marlow Heights.
Marlow Heights.
Yeah, all the way on the other side,
it's like PG County, right?
Southeast corner. Yeah.
Okay.
South, was it PG? Yeah, PG County, all the way down.
Oh, isn't it? Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
I had to get on the Beltway and circumnavigate Washington, D.C., halfway around D.C. to get to Marlow Heights, where it first was. And then it was in Arlington, Virginia, which was right across the Potomac River.
Yeah, it's Prince George's.
And but that was a fun drive too. But anyway,
I knew I drove to Upper Marlboro, Maryland for over a year.
Oh, right. Was that Errol's?
No, that was the real estate office. Then I drove to Springfield, Virginia. So yeah, I get
my gosh. I didn't know you drove to Springfield. Yeah. That's really way
from Germantown to Springfield. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, no, same horror story.
Well, we were driving down and
if you've ever been to DC, people,
on Friday night,
it's awful. Traffic is awful.
It really is bad. And we're driving down to DC Friday night, and it was, afternoon drive. So it was like 4:00, 5:00. We were on the road. Going down 270, which is the main thoroughfare that comes down.
Not good.
Although
you're going in.
We were going in, and it wasn't that bad until I got to the inner loop of the Beltway. then it was a standstill, and then I had to maneuver 4 lanes of traffic. They're not letting you in, man.
Everybody's like, "What do you mean
not letting me in?" My turn signal was on. I saw her in my and she just came up, closed ranks, and no eye contact. She's not looking at me at all. I'm looking over like, thanks a lot for nothing.
Relate urge into crappy.
Oh man, but I'm looking at northbound 270. And it's
and it's wall to wall,
a parking lot.
That's what I used to do every day.
You're inching.
Oh,
and I said to the greatest wife ever, I'm like, Dan, I can't think of the years of time I wasted.
This is why I moved.
Sitting in traffic. I know it's
literally why
I'm aware.
I just couldn't do it anymore. The traffic was just bananas. It was insane. I hated it. I hated and I like driving cars, but
you're not driving a car. You're sitting in a car.
That's just it.
You're not doing anything else. And I even told the greatest wife, I'm like, I didn't do anything constructive at all. I mean, I didn't buy books on tape I actually did have some books on tape, but I didn't learn or relearn French.
I listened to Don and Mike in the afternoon or whatever. That's why I became so connected with radio, I think, and DJ personalities was because I spent a lot of time listening to that kind of stuff.
Don and Mike were in the afternoon.
Yeah, they were in the afternoon. Yeah, on WJFK.
Live from Ruthless Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah, it's the Don and Mike Show.
Starring Donald P.
Geronimo. Mike O'Mara. I know. I just forgot about that. Yeah. Good stuff.
I love that show. That was
good. Yeah, it's too bad.
I love the way they moved from mornings to afternoons, and that was an interesting radio station because they just did morning shows all day long, all around the clock.
JFK.
Yeah. Well, G. Gordon Liddy wasn't a morning show, but you had Howard Stern.
I forgot he did middays, right?
Middays. Yeah, Howard Stern in the morning. G. Gordon Liddy, Dynamite in the afternoon, and Greaseman at night.
And Greaseman.
The Greaseman. I ran across one of his
lineup
YouTube videos. The Greaseman.
They're horrible. Oh, don't watch them. It's
what?
Awful. The old one or the new ones that he's done?
No, not the new ones. It was an old one. It was
Okay.
an old one he did about
Right.
making a commercial.
Wow, this has gone off the tracks.
Yeah, I know. We went on the rail.
Right.
Oh, you know what? It's time.
Is it?
Time to get the gray matter working.
Well,
Fire off the synapses, engage the
people that
frontal
are
lobe, form
left.
new neural networks, utilize the cerebrum. As Pooh says,
We're
it's
gonna try
time
it.
to.
Hey, it works.
Think.
It's the
Ding.
dun, dun, dun. Question of the day. We call it the QOD for short.
Yep.
Here's today for Pride Not Prize, by the way, for
Always.
for the next week, maybe 2 weeks.
I'm here next week. The
Question of
following
the day.
week, I am not. I might
I'm
be.
not.
I might be able to be.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in. No, we'll tell you later.
Okay.
Oh right.
No. Here we go.
The first Mardi Gras celebration in the United States is said to be in this town in the 18th century, well before New Orleans. What southern town is it? I'll give you a hint. You want a super duper give it away clue?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you the state because Forrest Gump
Mhm.
grew up in this state.
It's not where the film was filmed, but where he grew up.
Right. Not where he was really filmed, but Forrest Gump grew up in this state.
Or is it the same state? I don't know. I don't remember where Forrest Gump grew up.
Here it is. The first Mardi Gras celebration in the U.S. is said to be in this town in the
Confusing thing.
18th century, well before New Orleans. What southern town was it? Super duper give it away clue. Forrest Gump grew up in this state.
State. Got it.
State. All right.
All right.
All right. Put your answers in the comment section and
And
good luck. No, nothing. You don't remember your Forrest Gump?
No, other than I know where it was. A lot of it was filmed.
South Carolina, right?
Georgia, Savannah.
Savannah, Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, literally the squares where he's sitting with the box of chocolates and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's where Jenny was. He was going to
Jenny.
Jenny.
Boom, boom. Okay.
We were like peas and carrots.
Peas and carrots.
Okay, here it is again. The first Mardi Gras celebration in the U.S. is said to have been in this town in the 18th century, well before New Orleans. What southern town was it? And super duper give it away clue. Forrest Gump grew up in this state. All right. Do we have the answers?
We got a couple at least.
Oh, we got a couple answers. Let's go.
All right, let's try. Here we go. Bing. Says.
There it is. Boom. Mobile, Alabama.
Did he win?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's it. That's correct.
Wow. Okay.
That is correct. I think it's Pride, not Prize. Yeah, in the 1700s, early 1700s.
Huh.
They're said to have been the first Mardi Gras or Carnival and Mardi Gras celebration in the United States. In Mobile, Alabama, as Forrest Gump would say.
Susan had a guess, so I'll at least throw it up there.
I've heard about Biloxi, Mississippi, but I don't believe it's that. What I read, it was Mobile, Alabama.
Feel free to prove Ron wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. This was really just off the top of my head.
And we can give you
me and AI.
Post Pride, not prize.
When you search something for in AI in Google now it gives you the AI,
which I hate because half the time it's like, is this the right answer, really, or should I scroll down further?
Exactly. It's not good. I was trying to find something online if this was true, and I couldn't get a straight answer out of anybody.
That's not good.
No, it was bad. So I just said, all right, fine, screw it.
Right.
I don't need to see it.
All right, Ron, we have to run.
Yeah, I got to go too.
One.
Yes, so we got to run.
I got to go back to work.
Thanks again for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. And as always, you can leave messages if you want. 240-415-9090, 240-415-9Z.
Niner.
You can leave messages in the comment section. John and I read them all the time. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Thank you for watching us on Facebook and for listening to us wherever you get your podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Please take care of yourselves and each other. Please be safe. John, Ron, love you, mean it. Bicycle.